Alone in the woods at midnight, Soldier's last breath until two girls rushed to save him. The moon hung ominously in the sky, casting ghostly shadows through the sprawling, tangled forest. It was midnight. Silence smothered the air, punctured only by the deafening heartbeat of dread. A soldier lay crumpled beneath an ancient oak, his breath rattling like broken glass, each exhale a desperate plea for survival. The tree's gnarled branches twisted overhead, like the skeletal hands of the night reaching down to claim him. A shiver ran down his spine, but it wasn't just the chill in the air, it was something else, something darker lurking in the woods. Strange whispers danced beneath the canopy, twisting the night with secrets that made the skin prickle. He could feel their eyes on him, hidden presences melting into the shadows. It was as if the trees themselves leaned in, listening, waiting with a hungry anticipation for his final gasp. Out there, somewhere in the suffocating dark, unseen creatures stirred, mysterious beings known only to the depths of nightmare. Panic gripped him, his heart raced against the heavy weight of wounds that pulsed with pain. What had happened? How had he ended up here, bleeding out beneath the moon's cold gaze? Then, in a flash, two figures emerged from the darkness. The girls, appearing like luminous spirits, racing toward him with determination in their eyes. Their long hair flowed behind them, tangled with leaves and shadows. They were too young to be out here, yet they moved with an urgency that hinted at something extraordinary. It sent a fresh wave of hope crashing over his despair. Their voices, like distant bells, promised a glimmer of salvation against the haunting stillness of the woods. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the girls neared, the forest seemed to hold its breath. They were close now, their eyes wide with fear and fierce resolve. The soldier could feel the warmth of their presence breaking through the cold grip of fear that threatened to pull him under. What could they possibly do? Time felt like quicksand slipping through his fingers as he struggled to stay conscious. Just then, a shudder ran through the trees, and a sudden crack echoed nearby, sending a jolt of terror straight through his core. What was happening? Each second stretched like an eternity as he fought to remain sane, wondering if he would live to see another dawn. The weight of their gazes bore down on him, and he clung to the last threads of hope. But what if the shadows lurking in the woods had plans of their own, dark plans that could snuff out their flicker of light? The girls reached for him, hands trembling with urgency, but would they be fast enough? The answer hung in the air, a heavy unknown, just like the fate that awaited them all in the heart of the night. The girls dropped to their knees beside the soldier, hastily assessing the dark pool of blood that gathered around him. Their breaths came in quick gasps, each exhale laced with fear, every heartbeat sinking with the quiet menace that surrounded them. "Stay with us," one of them shouted, her voice a fierce command that cut through the chilling air. The soldier tried to focus on her face, to grasp the fleeting hope radiating from her. She was so young, probably not even out of her teens, but there was an intensity in her gaze that pierced through the haze of agony clouding his vision. "Please, help me," he managed to croak, each word tasting of copper. The other girl, her eyes wide with unyielding determination, rummaged through her backpack, finally pulling out a small, worn first aid kit. As she opened it, a low growl echoed from deep within the woods. The sound curled around them like a shroud, chilling their bones. The soldier's heart hammered. He squeezed his eyes shut, trying to drown out the noise, but it grew louder, more predatory. It was close. "Quick! We need to stop the bleeding," the girl with the kit said, her hands trembling as she fumbled with the supplies. The soldier felt a flicker of desperation, mixed with an overpowering need to push the shadows away. He could almost sense them creeping closer, hungry for what remained of him. "Wait," he gasped, trying to sit up, but a sharp pain lanced through him. "You shouldn't be here." "Shut up," she hissed back, her voice laced with urgency. "We're not leaving you." The tension crackled in the air as the whispers morphed into hushed words that taunted him. It felt strange, almost as if the very forest had eyes, feeding on their despair. The trees creaked ominously, and the branches twisted and contorted, threatening to reach down and snatch them away. "Faster," the other girl urged, her hands trembling as she pressed gauze against the soldier's wound. He felt the warmth of her hands, grounding him momentarily. A flicker of hope ignited within as he tried to keep his gaze steady on her, seeing something fierce spark within her determination. She was fighting for him in a way that felt impossibly powerful. Suddenly, a scream tore through the night, raw and piercing. It felt miles away yet so close, echoing off the trees like an ominous warning. The soldier's heart sank. They weren't alone anymore. What was that? One girl gasped, her face turning pale as she looked into the blackness surrounding them. The soldier knew the sound, something primal and terrible lurking just beyond the edge of the moonlight. I don't know," he stuttered, fear clawing at his throat. The strong, warm grip of the girl tending to him began to falter as she, too, felt the weight of the darkness closing in. They finished wrapping his wound, but he could sense the encroaching dread. Shadows flickered at the edge of the clearing, shapes twisting and flickering in ways that defied reason. The soldier grabbed the girl's hand, his grip tightening. "We have to go now." But just as they began to push to their feet, the ground trembled violently, sending a shockwave through the woods. The earth itself seemed to roar, as if voicing a warning that they were not welcome here. "Run!" he shouted, but the words barely registered before the shadows surged forward. The air grew thick with an unnatural chill, and dread seeped into their bones. In that moment, the reality crashed down upon them like a tidal wave. A malevolent presence had awoken, and it wanted them as they turned to flee into the abyss of the forest. Something deep in the dark stirred, something that wouldn't let them escape so easily. What awaited them in the heart of the night, where fear reigned and hope seemed to vanish as quickly as light? Every breath sustained the haunting question: would they outrun the darkness before it devoured them whole? They stumbled into the thick underbrush, the soldier leaning heavily against one of the girls. The forest felt alive around them, the trees looming like silent spectators to their desperation. Each rustle of leaves sent shards of dread cascading down their spines, an unshakable reminder of the unseen predator lurking in the shadows. "Faster!" the soldier urged, his voice cracking. His grip slipped from the girl's hand, but in that moment, it was a split second of panic. They were losing time. The growls echoed again, low and menacing, reverberating through the darkness like a death knell. I can't leave you," she gasped, fear etched into her gentle features. The girl's resolve flickered like a candle in a windstorm, but didn't go out. "Listen," he shouted, the urgency rising in his throat. "You need to go. It's after me, not you. You don't understand." But her eyes remained defiant, fire in the face of fear. "You're coming with us. We won't abandon you." The shadows lunged forward like wild animals, and the soldier felt panic gripping his heart. They didn't have much time. He glanced back toward the clearing, a maw of darkness threatening to swallow them. A towering silhouette emerged from the depths, its outline stark against the faint moonlight filtering through the canopy. It was massive, rumbling with an eerie menace, like something out of a nightmare. "Keep moving," he yelled again, pushing them onward, but the girl's resolve faltered with every step. Branches clawed at their clothes, grabbing their legs with a life of their own, as if the woods desperately wanted them to stay, a sacrifice to the ancient thing that stirred in the night. With each frantic step, the soldier's wound burned like fire, a bitter reminder that they were racing against time. Just as they broke free into a wider path, the growl transformed into an echoing roar that seemed to shake the very ground beneath their feet. The other girl, wide-eyed and trembling, fired a look at the soldier. "What is that?" What do we do? Don't look back. He grunted through gritted teeth, dragging himself forward, heart pounding against the confines of his chest. Fear surged through him not just for his own life but for theirs. He couldn't let anything happen to them, but just as hope flickered into existence, the entire forest held its breath. A sinister silence fell, weighty and suffocating, the kind of silence that screamed of impending danger. Why is it so quiet? The girl murmured, an edge of panic creeping into her voice. Before they could respond, the darkness split open with blinding speed. The creature emerged, a nightmarish form, slick with shadows, its eyes a glowing red that pierced through the blackness. Time froze. Adrenaline surged, and the soldier turned on instinct, shoving the girls behind him. Run! Don't look back! He barely registered the choking fear that filled the air. Didn't he see the girls falter at his command? Behind them, the creature lunged, moving faster than the mind could comprehend, its jagged teeth glinting in the still air. Go! He roared, defiance burning in his chest. All the fear he felt was eclipsed by the need to protect them. The girls hesitated, clinging to hope, but they could see the truth behind the soldier's eyes, a fierce determination, a man ready to fight to the end. With a desperate yell, they tore free from the shadows, sprinting down the path to safety, fueled by an instinctive urge to survive. But as they glanced back, the sight was enough to wrench at their hearts, a horrifying scene as the soldier stood near the looming darkness, solitude taking hold of him like a shroud, that he would face the terror alone, all while hoping against hope that they would make it. Would they be able to find another way to fight? Or was this just the beginning of the nightmare that would consume them all? The sound of footsteps grew faint, fading away into the chilling whisper of the wind. The soldier stood alone, heart pounding, muscles tensed, eyes locked onto the creature that stalked toward him. Shadows danced around them both, creating a hellish theater as the moonlight struggled to penetrate the twisted branches overhead. A slick tongue flicked out, tasting the air, and the creature's eyes glowed brighter, a hellish beacon piercing through the night. Each step was a low growl, an unholy promise wrapped in the darkness. He knew he had mere moments. Each heartbeat sounded like thunder in his ears, counting down to an inevitable confrontation. Come on then, he muttered, almost to himself, the words barely escaping his cracked lips. He would not show fear. Not now. A mix of adrenaline and pain coursed through him as he braced for the attack, clenching fists that trembled with determination. Then it lunged, a blur of fangs and fur, driven by an instinctual hunger that roared louder than the night itself. The soldier barely had time to react. He dodged to the side, feeling the hot breath of the creature snatch at his side, taunting and close enough to send icy dread slithering down his spine. Not today. He snarled, finding fury in his veins as he stumbled back on uneven ground. Gripping a jagged branch like a makeshift weapon, he swung hard, his aim catching the beast's flank. It yelped, a ghastly wail echoing through the forest. Victory was brief. The creature spun around, fury ignited, and resentment dripped from its snarling maw. He wasn't ready to give in. Not yet. Not with a flicker of hope still dancing in his mind. The girls escaping into the night. Their lives mattered more than his OWN.AS. The monstrous form charged again. The soldier darted into the trees, the underbrush wrapping around him like a vine, holding him down and enticing him all at once. He needed to find a way to outsmart the beast, to keep it off balance, to distract it long enough for the girls to get away. Suddenly, a rustling in the distance pulled his attention away. His heart leaped. Had they come back? Stay away. He bellowed into the dark, the words hanging like a bitter taste in his mouth. The weight of danger thrummed around him as if the forest itself knew something he did not, but no figures emerged, just the unsettling whisper of leaves and the mounting tension that strangled the air. Then, from the corner of his eye, he spotted it. The creature was stalking him along the edge of the clearing, its lips peeled back in a furious snarl. He was trapped. Panic clawed at his throat, and he fought to force it back down. Focus. He hissed at himself, gripping his weapon tighter. In the split second, he made a decision. He turned sharply and bolted deeper into the woods, his breath coming in painful gasps. desperate and erratic. The creature followed, its guttural growls echoing through the night, a haunting reminder that it was too close and it wouldn't stop until it had him. Suddenly, ahead, he saw a flickering light, an invitation or a trap. He couldn't tell, but desperation fueled him. It might lead them to safety. "Girls! If you can hear me, I'm coming," he yelled, willing his voice to carry over the growing chaos. The underbrush exploded behind him as the creature lunged once more. Heart pounding, he changed direction, limbs burning with effort, every muscle screaming with the strain. He caught a glimpse of the light just ahead, shimmering like a promise of hope. But what awaited him just beyond that threshold? Each shadow now felt like a trap, a dark promise that coiled around his heart. He had to reach it. Whatever lay ahead could either be salvation or doom. Was he racing toward a way out or stepping deeper into darkness? With the predator breathing down his neck, his only thought was to push forward, fight for the moments he had left, and pray the girls were safe wherever they were. But in the flickering light, he sensed a presence, one that made the hair on his arms stand up, a shadow lurking just beyond reach. What was it? Another foe? An ally? The moment was electric, the air thick with suspense. What if it turned out to be worse than the creature chasing him? Would their fate intertwine with his in the most catastrophic way? He didn't have time for answers. He just had time to run. And in that desperate flight, he found himself facing the unknown. The light pulsed violently, pushing the darkness back with its desperate glow. In those frantic moments, the soldier's breath came in quick bursts, his senses honed to razor sharpness. The ground beneath him seemed to tremble as the creature pursued, each guttural snarl echoing like a death knell, a reminder of the danger so close behind. Just when he was about to step into the light, a deafening roar lit up the night. The creature was inches away. Instinct took over, he lunged forward, flinging himself into the brightness that had been flickering like a heartbeat before him. A tangle of branches scratched his arms, but he pushed through, the flickering light unveiling a scene he never expected. Before him stood an old, weathered cabin. The wooden structure appeared more like a grave, shadows clinging to its corners with fingers of darkness. But there was a fire lit inside, its orange glow throwing dancing shadows that fought against the encroaching darkness. Hope ignited along with his decision. Was this sanctuary? A sudden crash behind him forced him to turn. The creature had hesitated at the threshold of light, its furious growls rattling the very air around him. He stumbled backward, shock igniting his veins, slipping through the door that creaked like a warning. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of wood smoke and aged pine, but he barely registered it. He felt along the walls, searching for something, anything to defend himself. The flicker of the fire illuminated a rusty axe embedded in the wooden floor, wedged there as if it had been forgotten by time. He grasped it, the cold steel grounding him against the creeping terror that clutched at his throat. Suddenly, the door slammed open, and the creature lunged inside, wild eyes glinting with malevolence, its massive form nearly filling the frame. Heart racing, the soldier raised the axe, ready to strike. But just then, from the shadows, two figures emerged, tangled hair, dirt-streaked faces, their eyes wide with a mix of fear and determination. "Stay back!" he shouted, hoarse and raw. But the girls, no longer just shadows, stepped forward. "We know how to fight it," one of them said, urgency in her voice. The creature snarled, foam-drenched saliva splattering the floorboards as it snapped its jaws. The soldier's focus shifted between the beast and the girls, confusion swirled with desperation. The girls were not just innocent bystanders, they had an edge, a sense of purpose that rattled his fear and reignited his will to fight. "What are you doing here?" he demanded, his grip on the axe tightening. "It's coming for us, too," the second girl replied, pointing to a corner of the cabin where the light barely stretched. "We can't let it find us in here." In that instant, the soldier felt a rush of anger and protectiveness flow over him. How could he let these girls put themselves in danger? They didn't know what was outside that door. A low growl rumbled through the cabin. The creature lunged again, tearing wood like it was paper, its eyes locked onto them with all the fury of a predator. "Now!" one girl shouted. They sprang into action, darting toward a half-open window opposite the door. Realization hit him hard. They had to escape. The cabin was not a sanctuary, it was a trap. "Go, go!" he yelled, adrenaline-fueled panic pushing him forward. He swung the axe, barely grazing the creature as it smashed into the space he'd just exited moments before, sending splinters and debris flying everywhere, but just as the girls reached the window, a tremor of uncertainty shook the soldier. "What now?" he shouted. Outside, chaos loomed. The night felt alive, a grind of danger, desperation, and the pulse of escape weaving together. "Trust us," the first girl yelled back, her voice cutting through the storm of noise. "We have a plan. Just follow us." Uncertainty mingled with raw instinct. He had to make a choice, to trust these girls and confront the predator, or be devoured by the lurking shadows. With the creature roaring behind him and the girls urging him onward, the soldier took a deep breath. What awaited them outside? Was it salvation or doom? Time slipped away as he made his decision. Now, they would face the darkness together, or they would fall as they launched through the window. The world exploded into a cacophony of sound. What horrors awaited them in the night? The questions screamed louder than the creature's growls, and as they fled deeper into the woods, one thought rang true: the real nightmare was only just beginning. The moon hung high in the sky, a cruel spectator to the chaos unleashed below. The night air was electric, charged with the desperate thrum of heartbeats and racing footsteps. The soldier, the two girls, and the creature each was a cog in a twisted game of survival. "Over here!" one of the girls shouted, veering sharply to the right as they tore through the underbrush. The branches clawed at them, dragging down their clothes, but they pressed on, breathless and frantic. "Why the hell are we running?" the soldier demanded, voice strained. "What's your plan?" The second girl glanced back, her eyes wide and glistening with fear. Their essay clearing a few feet ahead. "It's a good spot to regroup." Regroup? The soldier's mind spun. He hadn't signed up to regather in some open field with a monster on their tails. But as he glanced back, the image of the creature bursting through the cabin lingered in his mind, a grotesque silhouette against the dim cabin light. The fear clawed at his gut. "Just trust us," the first girl replied, urgency lacing her tone. The soldier cursed under his breath as the realization hit trust. Not an easy thing to come by when death lingered behind. The trio barreled into the clearing, each of them heaving for breath, the moonlight illuminating their ragged faces. The soldier's grip on the axe was slick with sweat, his heart drumming an erratic rhythm. The clearing was wide, open, but there was nowhere to hide. Fear pooled in his stomach, they were exposed. "What now?" the soldier gasped as he scanned the tree-line. There had to be a plan, a way to fend off the beast that wouldn't let them go. The girls exchanged frantic glances, determination mingling with desperation. "We'll distract it," the first girl said, pointing to a large fallen log. "We can use that for cover." "Are you insane?" the soldier protested, his voice low but intense. "That thing will tear us apart." "We have to buy some time," yelled the second girl. Her breath was shaky, but her resolve shone through the panic. "We know how it thinks. It's hunting us, but it can be led away." A low growl echoed from the depths of the woods, a reminder of their impending doom. The soldier's heart sank further. Before he could argue, the girls darted toward the log, arms frantically waving to get the creature's attention. They did seem determined, perhaps more experienced in this nightmare than he initially believed. "Okay, just make it quick," he commanded, abandoning his caution as he scrambled after them. Suddenly, the monster broke through the tree-line, the very ground shaking beneath its weight. The moonlight revealed its grotesque form, teeth glistening and eyes wild. It let out a roar that echoed across the clearing, drowning out the soldier's thoughts. "Now!" The soldier yelled just as the girls screamed. The girls sprinted towards the opposite end of the clearing, their bodies moving in perfect synchronization. The creature's attention snapped toward them like a spring trap, and for a moment, the soldier stood frozen, weighing his options. But instinct kicked in. He followed, swinging the axe and shouting. They needed to lure it away, give them a fighting chance. If they failed, they'd all be lost to the night. They zigzagged, branches snapping underfoot, the creature hot on their heels. The soldier couldn't afford to think. Each swing of the axe felt like a heartbeat, grounding him. Yet, dread clung to his clothes like mist. What if they failed? Suddenly, they skidded to a halt, the first girl pointing toward a narrow ravine choked with darkness. "Down there," she breathed, her voice trembling. "Are you serious?" The soldier shouted, terror mixing with the adrenaline as he peered over the edge. "We can hide, just get us there," she insisted, fear flashing in her eyes. Against every instinct, he nodded. They jumped, plunging into the abyss, landing in the thick underbrush at the bottom. The creature raged above them, its growls like thunder shaking the very ground. But in the shadows, silence wrapped around them tight and thick. In that instant, the soldier realized how vulnerable they truly were. How did they plan to survive if they couldn't stay a single step ahead of the monster? And what secrets lingered between the girls that he still didn't understand? As their breath slowed, holding each other's gazes in the murky darkness, a new sound split the night, the undeniable rumble of something larger than the creature itself, a calamity about to unfold. Could it be their salvation or a new horror waiting to swallow them whole? The night was far from over. Darkness enveloped them, heavy and suffocating as they crouched low in the ravine. The soldier strained to hear beyond the wild thumping of his own heart, but the world outside felt distant and chaotic. The growls of the creature above thundered like a storm, overshadowed only by the new ominous rumble that seemed to echo through the very earth beneath him. What had unleashed this second terror? The girls pressed against him, their small frames trembling. He risked a glance at them, fear etched in their faces, but something else simmered just beneath the surface, determination. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were more than just terrified kids. He was going to need all the grit they could muster if they were going to survive. "Do you hear that?" he whispered, urgency clawing at the edges of his voice. Both girls nodded, eyes wide as they exchanged glances filled with unspoken thoughts. The rumble grew louder, like a freight train charging through the night. Panic surged back into the soldier's chest. What if they were not alone? Before he could voice the thought, a loud crash reverberated from above, followed by a presence that brushed past the edge of the ravine. It was immense, a shadow darker than the void surrounding them. The creature screamed, a sound so filled with rage it sent shivers down the soldier's spine. "What is it?" one girl gasped, her voice a shaky whisper. "I don't know," he breathed, fighting to keep his voice steady. "But it's coming for us. We have to move." Just as they contemplated their escape, the ground trembled again, harder this time. Something was emerging from the forest, large enough to rival the creature above. The soldier understood then that they weren't just hiding from one nightmare, they were caught between two grotesque forces in a battle for survival. "Stay close to me," he urged, pressing himself against the girls. "If we can get deeper into the ravine, maybe we can find a way out." They slid down the incline, careful in the dark, but their every move felt like a countdown to disaster. The growls of the creature were now mingled with this new, deep rumble, a sinister symphony of chaos. Suddenly, a blinding light pierced the darkness, showering the ravine in an eerie glow. It felt unnatural, almost electric. The soldier squinted, unable to make out the source, but he knew whatever was out there was closing in fast. "Look!" the second girl cried, pointing. He cast his gaze towards her finger. Emerging from the underbrush came a figure, outlined against the blinding light. It was large, human-shaped but distorted just like the creature above, but different. The soldier felt dread curl in his stomach, and a question burned through his mind: was this another enemy, or was it something else entirely? The girls instinctively huddled closer, their breaths mingled with raw fear. Is that? The first girl couldn't finish the thought, her voice trailing off. Suddenly, a chilling howl erupted from the depths of the forest, more deafening than any explosion. The creature above responded with vicious fury, the ground shuddering as it prepared to attack. Run! The soldier shouted, the word bursting forth like a command to arms. He pushed the girls before him, adrenaline surging as they scrambled down the canyon, away from whatever horror was about to erupt, but as they raced toward the unknown, a realization slammed into him like a wall. What if this was the fateful moment when they stumbled upon their true salvation or their ultimate doom? Just as the echoes of growls morphed into something primal, a single thought pierced the veil of confusion. Who or what was that light in the distance? What secrets were buried in the earth of that treacherous ravine, waiting to be unearthed? And were they truly ready to face whatever awaited them in the dark? The soldier's heart thundered in his chest as they dashed deeper into the ravine, the thunderous growls of the beast above intermingling with the crashing sounds behind them. The light pulsed like a heartbeat, growing closer yet more disorienting with each step. Sweat slicked his palms, and he tightened his grip on the girls, his thoughts racing ahead. Were they fleeing from the jaws of two monsters, or was this blinding light a beacon of hope? Where do we go? The second girl, Sam, shouted over the cacophony, her voice sharp with anxiety. I don't know. He yelled back, his breath hitching as he weaved around a rock formation. Just keep moving. We'll figure it out. Suddenly, the light flickered, revealing a glimpse of what lay ahead, an opening, perhaps a tunnel or a cave. If they could just get to it. But their path was obstructed by jagged stones, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. The fear in the girl's eyes pressed against him like physical weight. They reached the opening just as the earth beneath them quaked violently, sending pebbles skittering into the darkness of the cave. In. Now! He barked, urgency ringing in his voice. The three of them stumbled inside, collapsing against the rugged wall, breathless. The sounds of their pursuers, the creature's growls and the rumbling force faded slightly, but only just. They were still within the grip of terror. The soldier strained to listen. Outside, the growls morphed into a blood-curdling roar that reverberated off the cave walls. The creature above was angry. Maybe its attention was now drawn away from them, but not for long. Is it safe? Whispered Lily, the younger of the two girls. Her eyes darted around the cave, large and glistening with fear. He didn't answer. Instead, he took a moment to catch his breath, to reassure himself as much as them. The flickering light from outside bounced off the damp cave walls, revealing strange markings etched into the stone symbols that twisted and turned, almost pulsating in the dim glow. What are those? Sam breathed, pointing to the strange designs. I don't know, he murmured, stepping closer. As he inspected them, an icy dread seeped into his bones. The symbols felt alive, each stroke seeming to whisper secrets just out of reach. What if they were ancient warnings? Or passages to something worse? Then came the sound, the terrible howl that erupted from the top of the ravine, followed by a sudden silence that blanketed the air. The soldier's heart raced anew, even the girls felt it, a collective intake of breath. Before he could ask what was happening, the ground began to shake again, and the cave walls vibrated as if something was forcing its way through. Was the creature above now enraged? What do we do? Sam's question trembled on her lips. As if in response, the light outside surged, illuminating a figure looming just within view. It was the distorted shape they had seen before, but now it was at the cave entrance, framed by the golden glow. The soldier's instincts screamed at him to run. We can't stay here, he shouted, fear coiling tightly around them. Just as they began to retreat deeper into the cave, the figure stepped forward, revealing its face. It was human, yet undeniably twisted by the shadows of fear. What are you? The soldier stammered, feeling the weight of creeping despair settle in his chest. Only you can answer that, the figure replied, voice deep and echoing, sending shivers racing down his spine. The soldier's breath caught as he realized the light was not just a blessing, it was likely a trap. Awaiting them was a choice he didn't think he was prepared to make. What lay behind that figure? Salvation or annihilation? As they huddled together, bracing for the unknown, a thought pierced through the fog of fear: could fear be their only enemy? Or was there something far worse, waiting just out of sight? The choice slipped closer, and they stood on the precipice of the unknown, caught between the horrors above and the mysteries below. What darkness lurked beneath those ancient symbols, and were they brave enough to venture where light and shadow intertwined? The figure loomed larger in the cave's entrance, an unsettling mix of human features twisted into an expression of haunting sorrow. Light splintered around its silhouette, creating a shimmering halo that felt more suffocating than uplifting. The soldier's heartbeat was a desperate drum, drowning out the distant growls that were only a whisper now. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice cracking slightly as he edged closer to the girls, who were wide-eyed and trembling. "You already know," the figure said, a dark grin stretching across its lips. "You're fighting against your own nature." The word slithered into his mind, setting off alarm bells. The soldier glanced back at Sam and Lily, confusion and fear reflected in their pleading eyes. He felt responsible for them, a flickering ember of protector driving him forward, even as dread clawed up his throat. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled again, stronger this time. He steadied himself against the cave wall, desperate thoughts swirling. They could not face the creature above without knowing what this figure meant. "What do you want?" he asked again, trying to keep his voice steady, though it felt as flimsy as the cave's walls. The figure stepped further into the cave, the light casting long, eerie shadows over its unnaturally elongated limbs. "To show you the way," it said softly, the echo of its voice rising and falling like a haunting melody. "The way to the truth. To the power you've forsaken." As if on cue, the strange symbols scattered across the walls flared to life. They pulsed with radiant light, filling the cave with a hypnotic glow that made the soldier stagger. Instinctively, he grabbed the girls, trying to pull them away from the unnatural spectacle, but their eyes were transfixed. "Look!" Sam gasped, entranced by the designs. "It's like they're inviting us." "No!" he shouted, urgency cracking through his voice. These could be traps. For a heartbeat, silence hung like heavy fog, pressing down on them. Then the air crackled with energy, and the cave walls started to shift. The markings began to swirl, creating a tunnel, an actual passage that beckoned with vibrant energy. "What if we're meant to go in?" Lily's voice quivered with a mixture of fear and fascination. "Or maybe that's what it wants us to think." He turned back to the figure. "What's down there?" The figure's expression twisted, a flash of something older than fear buried beneath its calm facade. "Only what you choose to uncover. Power or despair, life or death." "What does that even mean?" the soldier yelled, overwhelmed. As he spoke, the ground shook again, violently this time. The cave echoed with a monstrous roar that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. "Choose!" the figure shouted, its voice rising above the commotion. "Do you hide in the shadows or embrace the light?" Without thinking, he grabbed the girls. "We have to leave this place." But the pulsating light from the markings blazed brighter, zapping the air with electricity. Then suddenly, a sickening crack resounded, and the cave walls began to fracture. Dust and rock rained down like confetti, the passage brightening as the choice forced itself upon them. The soldier's instincts kicked in. "Now! Get out!" He whipped around, propelling the girls ahead of him as they darted toward the newly opened passage. As they rushed forward, hoping against hope to escape the chaos, a deafening roar filled the cave above, looming larger than anything they had encountered. What if the creature had broken through? In that instant of hesitation, the figure's laughter echoed ominously behind them. "Into the truth you go. May it set you free." Steeling himself, the soldier pushed the girls through the passage, praying the only thing waiting for them was a way out, not more darkness. The choice lay ahead, and time was slipping through his fingers. What awaited them on the other side of that shimmering light? Would they emerge victorious or fall victim to the very fears they tried to escape? As they stumbled through the pulsing tunnel, fear pushed them forward while uncertainty gnawed at their insides. The world behind them blurred into chaos. The cacophony of earth-shattering roars and the relentless growls of the creature lingered in the air like a specter. The soldier prayed their escape would lead them to safety rather than deeper into darkness. The passage was slick and alive, walls shimmering like the flickering memories of a long-lost dream. The light enveloped them, igniting a sense of urgency. Those strange symbols pulsed fervently, offering an odd comfort and heightening their fear. Were they betraying humanity by moving deeper or beckoning hope where only despair once lurked? "Keep going," he urged, pushing the girls ahead, heart racing. The tunnel twisted and turned, each corner feeling as if it could lead to salvation or death. The soldier felt a tremor beneath his feet, a reminder that time was running out. Suddenly, the tunnel opened into a vast chamber flooded with blinding light, illuminating the walls and unearthing more symbols that spiraled like a cosmic language dancing through the air. Instinctively, they halted, breath caught in their throats. Before them lay a massive stone structure that radiated power, ancient and reverent. "What is this place?" Sam whispered, her voice wavering with awe. The soldier didn't know. His eyes scanned the chamber, a primal energy humming inside him, telling him this was a crossroads. They had to make a choice: stand and fight or flee into the unknown. "We need to figure this out together. What's the best way to take this thing down?" he asked, desperation blending with hope. The girls turned toward him, their fear now cloaked in fierce determination. "This," Lily said, pointing to the glowing symbols on the stone. "They might hold the key to defeating it. We have to decipher them." As the soldier nodded, the symbols suddenly surged with energy, illuminating shadows curling toward the walls, the creature's growls echoing closer, reminding them they had little time left. Panic threatened to consume the soldier. What if this just leads to more danger? We've faced enough. His voice cracked under the weight of dread, but fueled by the girl's raw courage, he pushed that fear away. "No," Sam said firmly, learning from the journey, her presence filling the air with quiet power. "This is our chance. If we don't try, what are we left with?" He felt the truth in her words. Pressured by urgency, they stepped closer to the massive stone, the pulsing energy surrounding it vibrating through his core. The symbols glowed brighter as they neared, almost as if responding to their intentions, each representing power, unity, and something ancient yet familiar. Together, they touched the stone. The moment their fingers met the surface, a thunderous roar erupted around them, far louder than anything they had faced before. Fear gripped him, but in that moment, something surged within him, an understanding. He realized they were bound together, and with that bond came strength. "We can do this," he shouted. "We need to unite our strengths." Lily and Sam clasped hands, their eyes gleaming with fierce hope as they stood beside him, three individuals forming an unbreakable line against the darkness. The stone thrummed, illuminating the chamber, and waves of energy rippled outward. The creature crashed into the entrance of the chamber, eyes glinting with menace, howling in rage. But this time, the soldier was ready. "Together!" he roared. With firm will, they pushed their combined fears into the pulsating stone, channeling the energy that surged within, the shadows of their past, the pain, the sacrifice, all merged into one force. Suddenly, the entire chamber erupted in blinding light, radiant and pure. The creature shrieked, recoiling as the light washed over it, illuminating the tendrils of darkness wrapping around them. The soldier felt invincible, the energy flooding his veins, daring him to break through the last remnant of fear lingering in his heart. "Keep going!" Lily shouted, her voice echoing above the chaos. The light engulfed everything, revealing the creature's true form, a twisted silhouette outlined in stark shadows, revealing its vulnerability. Harnessing the energy, they called forth their courage. "We are not afraid. They screamed as one, and the chamber pulsed in response, shattering the darkness with a brilliant flash. The glow burst outward, enveloping the creature in an explosion of light. Primal howls filled the air, chaos erupting in stunning waves of energy that sent the world dizzying around them. In a heart-stopping moment, time slowed. The shadowed creature was engulfed, dissolving into the brilliance and giving way to a stillness that felt like rebirth. The chamber around them began to shimmer, and they staggered back as the power shifted, solidifying into something steadier, more tangible. Did we win? Sam's voice trembled, a mix of shock and disbelief. Together, we overcame it, the soldier replied, breathless. The pull of victory entwined their hearts, and with it came an overwhelming sense of clarity. They had faced the true darkness and emerged in the light, hand in hand. As the chamber began to fade, the trio shared a knowing look. The shadows lurking in their hearts had been vanquished, and in its place grew an unyielding bond, a testament to courage, resilience, and the endless fight to find the light. No matter how deep the shadows, the forest outside was still, the weight of the night lifting as they stepped forward, together. The moon hung low, bright and unforgiving, but the dark woods were merely a background to their lives now. They had triumphed. Where do we go from here? Lily asked softly, confusion and wonder blending together. Anywhere we want, the soldier whispered back, a smile breaking through the heaviness. As long as we're together, we can face whatever comes next. As they moved forward, embracing the dawn of a new day, a newfound understanding ignited within them, a shared purpose cemented in the scorching fire of survival and hope. Don't you dare stop here. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that subscribe button immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and support the channel. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this jaw-dropping ending. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Show that you're a true fan who cares.